NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks play their final preseason game tonight versus the Washington Wizards. After losing to the Boston Celtics last night at the TD Garden, the Knicks, of course, didn't play their top 6 or 7 players, actually. And still, last night, they were competitive. You know, playing with the guys that they played with, they were fairly competitive last night against the Boston Celtics. Tonight, though, is the dress rehearsal, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is when we should expect to see, or at least get an idea of what these lineups are going to look like, of who Tom Thibodeau really does plan to play on a regular basis, right? Who's in the rotation, who's not in the rotation. At least, listen, we're getting this information from Tibbs. So, you know, we'll see if he holds to it. I would still expect that we'll see some, some of those other guys play just so they can get one last look at them before they have to make a decision as to who they're going to waive, cut, or whatever you want to call it. All right, but the Knicks do play the Washington Wizards tonight in what is considered the dress rehearsal for the season. I do want to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, that we have 2 events that are coming up. All right, one is a kickoff event for MBK at Legends down the street from the Garden. All right, and that is on Saturday. Starts at 7 p.m. And it's really just going to be some Knicks fans getting together, do some podcasting, and that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a free event. All right, so you can come on down and join us. Almighty Finesse told you last night that the food was free. He lied to you. It's not. You're going to have to pay for the food from Legends, but the event is free. Come on in and join us. You can register right here with the link that I just put into the chat. The only reason why you're registering is so we can let them know about how many people might show up. And then on October the 25th, we're doing a Knicks versus Celtics watch party. That's opening night for the New York Knicks. It's also the home opener for the New York Knicks. All right, we're doing a watch party at Legends. You can also sign up for the watch party, ladies and gentlemen. So both of the links are in the chat right now. I'm going to pin the kickoff event since that's what's coming up first, but I'll mention it throughout the podcast. All right, I'll mention it. So make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you check out those events. They're going to be dope. Keith Turner said they waived Roby and Martin. This must be pretty new because I had not seen that, but I'm not discounting you, Keith. You've always seemed to tell the truth when you post something in the chat. I'm surprised, very surprised. I agree, Keith. Very surprised that they waived Martin. Now, very surprised because I thought the kid had talent, and I thought that he was one of the guys that would have been someone that they're maybe building for the future. So that now let's also remember that sometimes these moves happen. They don't all happen at the same time, right? We've seen the Knicks waive a player, and then in the next 2 or 3 moves, they, bring that player back on a regular contract or something like that. So, let's be patient and see exactly what happens throughout this process, because I am surprised that they waived Martin. Surprises me big time that they waived Martin. But this means that they see a player that they would rather have, because Martin was on a 2-way. So this means somebody else is going to take that 2-way spot. Right? I don't know who that might be. All right, the Knicks now have a 2-way slot available. This is according to Steph Bondy right now, right? Yes, the Knicks waived Jalen Martin. They waived Isaiah Roby. They now have a 2-way slot available. It is noteworthy that Jacob Toppin originally agreed to a 2-way contract before that mysteriously was rescinded. All right, and that's one of the reasons there were a lot of people who thought that Jacob Toppin was no longer on the roster, not even on the training camp roster, and it's because he was his 2-way contract was rescinded. That was some of the confusion there, but still, I am very surprised that the Knicks waived Jalen Martin. I'm not so surprised about Isaiah Roby. We all thought maybe Isaiah Roby could get a spot, but obviously they don't feel like he fits the bill. And maybe they like Jacob Toppin a little bit more than they like Isaiah Roby. And let's remember, for Isaiah Roby, they had to waive him before a certain time period in order for his, to make sure that his contract did not become guaranteed. All right, so there you have it. According to Steph Bondy, the Knicks waived Jalen Martin. They waived Isaiah Roby. They now have a 2-way slot available. Who's going to take that 2-way slot? We'll probably find out soon. Right now, they also have a roster spot available, though, because Isaiah Roby was taking up a roster spot. Yes, his contract was non-guaranteed, but he was taking up a roster spot. So somebody's going to step into the roster spot. Somebody's going to step into that 2-way spot. So essentially, there's 2 roster spots available, a 2-way and then a regular roster spot. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Right? Keith Turner, you said you think they're going to cut Knight too. It's possible. Nathan Knight. Nathan Knight is on a 2-way. He's on a 2-way contract. Dylan Windler's on a 2-way contract. We didn't see too much of either one of those guys during the preseason. We didn't see any of Martin during the preseason at all. So it makes me wonder with Martin, was there something else going on? Like maybe an injury that we don't know about or something somewhere. Something somewhere. Maybe there's something happening and we don't know about it, So, and then after he gets waived, then all of a sudden you hear, oh, he had such and such going on. You know what I mean? And while hit him up as saying the Knicks are the worst organization in sports, I'm not going to jump to that conclusion because we don't know exactly what might be going on. So, let's wait and see exactly what happens, right, before we start making grand gestures, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? Because it's possible that there's somebody out there that's in the chamber that we didn't think about or know about, and he becomes part of the New York Knicks organization. Anything like that could happen. All right, so, let's wait and see who else they could possibly sign. My man Ron from Still Knicks Fans in the chat. Feel free to join me, Ron. You got the, you got the keys, my brother. Feel free to join me if you got some time. All right, so for those who just joined, ladies and gentlemen, you probably heard the news, but the New York Knicks waived Isaiah Roby. They waived Jalen Martin. Both are kind of surprising, especially Jalen Martin for me. I thought that Jalen Martin was he was the guy that the Knicks would try to develop. in the G League. I thought the kid had some talent, but I'm going to wait and see what happens and where it goes. As for tonight versus the Washington Wizards, obviously, Roby and Martin will not play. Okay, so now the Knicks are down to, the Knicks actually had to waive or cut 2 guys. Their roster was at 20. By the 23rd of this month, they needed to have their final and official roster. We're still not sure if it's final and official, but they got it down to 18 now. So now let's see how things are restructured. Who becomes a two-way? Who becomes a roster guy? Tonight, the Knicks take on the Washington Wizards. You heard me say that several times. You also see it down at the bottom of the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about, if you want to call it an injury report. Right? Not much you can say because it's not the regular season. But the Knicks, really not much to report. We expect that the Knicks are going to play their guys tonight. They did not play their guys last night versus the Boston Celtics because it was the first game of a back-to-back. Right? So all the main guys sat, and we expect them to play tonight, especially since it's supposed to be a dress rehearsal. All right, so for the Washington Wizards, Johnny Davis, their draft pick from a year ago, 2 years ago, whenever it was, he'll miss 1 to 2 weeks after suffering a left elbow sprain in practice earlier this week. All right, he was their point guard, so to speak, off the bench. Patrick Baldwin Jr. is out. Taj Gibson, our buddy, our guy. Thought Taj Gibson was possibly coming back to the Knicks this year, with Obi being traded, but it didn't happen. Taj Gibson is day-to-day. We'll see if he plays tonight. Danny Avdija, he's been out due to his back. He did practice on Sunday. We'll see if he plays tonight. Right now, I don't have him out there on the roster. We'll see if he plays. Anthony Gill, he's out. Landry Shamet he's out as well. He's expected to miss 2 to 4 weeks with a broken big toe. Again, for the Knicks, they have no injuries. Very good thing. Very good thing. They have no injuries. My man Ron said he's going to jump on if I'm still going by the time he gets home. I'd appreciate that. Think I'll still be going for a little while. But the Knicks will be entering the season healthy, we expect. Last season, they entered the season when they started the season last year. Quentin Grimes was on the injury list. I think that's about it. Right, but they're starting the season healthy. That's a good thing. Love to see that, ladies and gentlemen. Starting 5, we expect the Knicks to start their regular group: Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. And for the Washington Wizards, you got Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole, Bilal Coulibaly. Not Karl Anthony Towns. That should be Kyle Kuzma. And then Daniel Gafford. All right, so please excuse the Karl Anthony Towns that you see on the screen. I'll fix that in just a second. Looking at these starting lineups, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, let me bring that back there. There we go. In my opinion, the Knicks have a better starting 5. They should have a better starting 5, right? This is, you would expect that the Knicks, if the Knicks are actually, in a dress rehearsal tonight, you would expect that the Knicks should dominate versus the Washington Wizards. I don't know what the Washington Wizards actually look like, though, to tell you the truth. Haven't seen them play at all. But it's not a team, in my opinion, that if the Knicks plan to be one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, one of the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference, there's no way that they should struggle with the Washington Wizards, because the Wizards are not expected to be a very good basketball team. Right? They're not expected to be a good basketball team. I don't want to say at all. They might be competitive, right? But they shouldn't be on the level. They shouldn't be on the same level as the New York Knicks. All right. Now, I know it's preseason, and there's it's preseason, right? So you're gonna say, well, the Knicks should. The Knicks are still feeling some things out. They're figuring out this, they're figuring out that. And I get all of that. I really do. Right? I get all of that. But I don't want to see the Knicks struggle with this team at all. At all. You know what I mean? Even though it's preseason. I want to see the Knicks go out there and play basketball the way that we know that they can and should play basketball. Right? This should be a game when the starting units are in, even when the bench units are in, that the Knicks should be able to, say, yep, show this is the reason why, some people say we are a top team in the Eastern Conference, a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. I'm not exactly sure the Knicks are there yet. Right? I don't know if they're a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference yet, but there's been some people, I think, who was it? Reggie Miller? Maybe we don't want to care what Reggie Miller says anyway. Right? Some people be like, who cares what Reggie Miller says? And I get that. I get all of that. But if the Knicks have, the grandiose idea that they're going to be one of the top competitive teams in the Eastern Conference, they got to handle their business, even though it's preseason, against the Washington Wizards. Unless Tom Thibodeau is going to, play around with the lineups and do some things like that. All right, which, from what we heard, this is going to be your dress rehearsal. And I do want to remind everybody, I know you see it says Karl Anthony Towns down there above Kyle Kuzma's name. It's not Karl Anthony Towns. He did not get traded to the Washington Wizards. All right, so, don't fret. For those who want Karl Anthony Towns to be traded to the Knicks, don't fret. All right? As a matter of fact, I'm about to change the name right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to change the name right now. All right. But while I'm doing that, I want to talk about some of the matchups. Let's first look at Jalen Brunson and Tyus Jones. Right. Tyus Jones is almost like a low-key Jalen Brunson. Right. He's not exactly Jalen Brunson. But he's a pickup that many people believe was really, really good for the Washington Wizards. Right? As a matter of fact, it kind of saved that Bradley Beal trade, I think it was. Right? When the Wizards traded Bradley Beal, a lot of people were like, man, they didn't even get a first-round draft pick, boom, 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 they didn't get nothing. But then they turned around and they made the move for Tyus Jones, and it kind of changed, the way people felt about that particular trade at the time, right? Because it was kind of like, man, what are the Wizards doing? Not that I cared, but, people were asking that question. What are the Wizards doing? And how can they not get a first-round pick for this, that, and the third? All right, but Tyus Jones kind of saved that. I don't know if they're looking at him as the point guard of the future. Right, but I think he's a guy in the short term that helps to steady the ship there in Washington. Helps to steady the ship. Now, Jalen Brunson, in my opinion, should dominate the matchup. Right? I mean, listen, can the kid play some defense? I'm pretty sure the kid can play some defense and things like that, but Jalen Brunson should dominate the matchup, in my opinion. And I want to see Jalen Brunson dominate the matchup. The next matchup is the tough one, Quentin Grimes and Jordan Poole. All right, because Jordan Poole, like this is Jordan Poole's, this is his time to step out. He's looking to prove to the world that he's worth the contract that he got, that he could be the number one or number two guy on a basketball team. All right, talks a lot of stuff. You know, we know what happened with him and Draymond Green and all of that. But here's where Quentin Grimes comes in, because I know I get on Quentin Grimes a little bit. I've had my thoughts and my things to say about Quentin Grimes and, you know, him expanding his offensive game and becoming more versatile. All of that stuff. And I'd like to see it. You know, a lot of people, I was in a chat today or today, Facebook chat, Facebook group. And somebody made a post. He said, whenever Quentin Grimes plays without Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, he scores over 20 points per game and shoots 45% from the field. And, you know, my response is, in my mind, I'm kind of like, so? Okay, what are you saying? But what I actually responded to the guy was, listen, Quentin Grimes is not a number one or a number two guy on a team. You know, I don't know if that's what he was getting at, but that's how I responded. He's not a number one or a number two. You know what I'm saying? He's a shooting, he's a 3-and-D guy. Catch and shoot, 3-and-D. I'd love to see him expand his basketball game, but he's not there yet. Right, so I know, you know, people seeing Quentin Grimes score 22 points last night, 7 for 12 from the three-point line. But think about it. He was 7 for 12 from the three-point line only. He only took one shot that was not a three. One shot that was not a three. Right now, he is your straight-up 3-and-D guy. Can he do more? I'm not exactly sure yet. I want to see him do more on the offensive side. But what he can do is play some defense. Right? He's going to be going up against Jordan Poole. And this is the reason why you're happy that Grimes is on the New York Knicks. Because he's one hell of a defender. And when you're playing against a guy like Jordan Poole, you got to have a guy who can defend out there. You know what I mean? Dante DiVincenzo can defend as well. Right? So having two guys that can guard these type of guards, I think is critical. It's critical. Right? So this is one of my key matchups right here. I have two key matchups to really watch out for. Quentin Grimes and Jordan Poole is one of my two key matchups tonight. Right? I want to see, you know, Quentin Grimes. Listen, we've seen him guard Jason Tatum. Now he's got another tough assignment. And he's going to get these assignments every single night. Assuming that he plays tonight. Right? Assuming that he plays tonight. You know what I mean? But he's going to get these assignments every night that he steps out there on the floor. Tonight, I'm not looking to see him go 7 for 12 on the three-point line and be excited about that and all those things. I'm looking to see him defend and be efficient. However many shots he gets. If he gets 5 shots, go 3 for 5. If he gets 8 shots, go 4 for 8, 5 for 8. Right, defend and be efficient. Knock down the shots that you get while you're out there with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. Knock down those shots. Knicks Hive Live said, what group was that? I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to look on my phone to see exactly what group that was. Right? And Stanford Don, there he goes, says, while you hype up Dante, there he is. I knew he was coming out. I knew he was coming out the woodwork. I'm not trying to ish on Quentin Grimes. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. It's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying there's people who have the idea that right now, the guy that I was talking to in that Facebook chat was like, well, I think he should be the third option. And I'm like, I don't think he's a third option right now. I don't. I think he is the option that, you know, when either Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, or RJ Barrett, when they draw in the defense, he's the option you're kicking it out to. And I think that's his role right now. That's it. That's his role. And it seems obvious to me because even on a night when there was no Jalen Brunson, Randall, or R.J. Barrett, you still did not see Quentin Grimes. He played more assertive, like me and Tony talked about last night, but you still did not see Quentin Grimes take control. He was still getting kickouts. It's not like he had the ball and he was creating for himself and others. He was still waiting for the kick out. That's all I'm saying about Quentin Grimes. That's all I'm saying, and I'm not mad at that. That's cool. That's good. And Stafford said, not me. He was talking to Keith Turner. Okay, I got you. So I'm not mad at Quentin Grimes for what he does. And it actually works for this lineup anyway. You got three guys that can create. You need a guy that can play defense and knock down shots. You know what I'm saying? And if his game grows, hopefully it grows together with the group, and boom, then they become, now he's able to do both. He's able to do both. I am looking to see more versatility from his game, though. No doubt about it. You know what I mean? He's really, really good at attacking closeouts, but catching the ball and having a defender right there in front of him, you rarely see him break that defender down. Rarely see that happen. R.J. Barrett, Bilal Coulibaly. R.J. Barrett should win this matchup hands down, right? Bilal's a rookie. R.J.'s been in the league for 4 years already, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? R.J. Barrett should win this matchup. He's a young kid, kind of skinny. Look, skinny like R.J. was when R.J. came into the league. Maybe a little bit bigger. But R.J. should be able to win this matchup. He's got more experience. He's got the talent. I expect R.J. to win this matchup hands down. Easy. All right, R.J. should have his, 20, 22 points tonight, something like that. I'm also looking to see R.J. get to the line like he's been doing. I want to see that continue. I think that can be a big part of R.J.'s game. Getting to the line, converting at the line, putting pressure on teams because he gets to the line. Being one of those guys that are crafty enough to put other teams in foul trouble. Right? 9 for 9 in the first game, 9 for 12 in the second game, didn't play in the third game. We'll see what happens tonight. The dress rehearsal. Right? Now, the next major matchup, in my opinion, Julius Randle and Kyle Kuzma. Okay? Kyle Kuzma is a guy that, Julius Randle and Kyle Kuzma, they know each other well. That should be a fun matchup to watch. Right? Kyle Kuzma can go off the dribble. He can shoot the ball. He's a fringe all-star player. Right? I think he's won a championship too, right? You know what I mean? So that's going to be a good matchup. Obviously, Julius Randle, he should be able to do Julius Randle things against Kyle Kuzma, right? But Julius Randle is going to also have to play defense against Kyle Kuzma. The Knicks should be approaching this. The players need to approach this as if it's a game, a regular season game. And obviously, we know it's preseason. They know it's preseason. So, mentally, for all the players, it's hard to really get up to that level of play with that level of intensity when you're out there on the floor. But they need to have it in their mind that they're approaching this as if it's a regular season game, and go out there and play. But the Julius Randle versus Kyle Kuzma, I think that's, one of your key matchups right there. I think Julius Randle, let's put it like this. I think that they should play themselves evenly. Right? They should play themselves evenly. That should be an even matchup. And then you got Mitchell Robinson and Daniel Gafford. Mitchell Robinson, I think, should win that matchup. Daniel Gafford, Similar type of guys. I think Mitchell Robinson is a little bit better than Daniel Gafford. Right? But looking at this lineup, the Knicks should have the matchup advantage. Jalen Brunson and Tyus Jones, that should go to Jalen Brunson. Quentin Grimes and Jordan Poole. If you talk stat-wise, it's probably going to go to Jordan Poole. But if Quentin Grimes can play good defense and keep him from, going crazy, then he did his job. R.J. Barrett should win his matchup over Bilal. Julius Randle and Kyle Kuzma should kind of even it out. Mitchell Robinson, I think, wins that matchup over Daniel Gafford. The Knicks should win the matchup of the starting group. You know what I mean? Should win the matchup of the starting group. Now, when we talk about the benches, it's hard to say exactly who's going to be on the Washington Wizards bench. But we do know who's going to be on the Knicks bench. And you see I have Evan Fournier in here, ladies and gentlemen. Right, let me get that little Kyle Kuzma thing off of there. There we go. You see I have Evan Fournier here. There's who knows how Tom Thibodeau's going to play it. But right now I got Evan Fournier at the small forward spot and Josh Hart at the power forward spot. We're going to find out tonight if Evan Fournier is going to be in the lineup, in the rotation. Hit him up. Yes, this is the last preseason game for the Knicks. For the Knicks it is. I think the Wizards have another game after this. Right? But we'll find out if Evan Fournier, I think if Evan Fournier plays tonight, then he'll be in that rotation. At least for the start of the season. Right now, the second unit, Emmanuel Quickley, Dante DiVincenzo, Evan Fournier, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein. For the Washington Wizards, Jared Butler at the point guard spot. Normally that would have been Johnny Davis, but Johnny Davis is out due to injury. Dylan Wright, Corey Kispert, another former New York Knick, and Delino Gallinari. I don't know why I just messed up his first name, what's going on. But Gallinari, and then you got Mike Muscala at the center position. All right, it's nice to see Gallinari back. He's been playing in the preseason. How much he's dealt with injuries. I'm glad that he's back. Danilo Gallinari, thank you. I said it. All right, but even the bench matchup, their biggest, in my opinion, Corey Kispert is their biggest threat. The guy can shoot the basketball. I'm not exactly sure when I got these guys out here. I'm not saying who's guarding who. I don't know if I'm going to have Evan Fournier guarding Corey Kispert if he's on the floor with those guys. Might be more like Dante DiVincenzo. Maybe put Evan Fournier and Gallinari because Gallinari can't really move. Or maybe I put Josh Hart on Corey Kispert and let DiVincenzo stay with Wright and Quickley on Butler. I'm not putting Evan Fournier and Corey Kispert if Evan Fournier is going to be out there on the floor because Corey Kispert can move. He can come off screens, and he catches the ball and he can let it go quick. You know what I mean? And I don't know, I'm not sure about that with Evan Fournier. But if Evan Fournier plays, I think he'll be in a rotation. And I'm not even going to say it's a bad thing. I think he's been playing well, and maybe he'll fit pretty good with that second unit. You know what I mean? And if he's able to be a contributor, let him be out there and play. As long as he's playing hard, just continue to play hard on the defensive side, Evan Fournier. Play hard. Right? Play hard. David L. said, Evan Fournier is stuck here until February 13th. And I think I might agree with you. I really might agree with you that Evan Fournier is going to be in a Knicks uniform for a little while. You know what I mean? Or at least to the trade deadline. So if he's here and he can give you some minutes, you might as well let him give you some minutes if he can give you some minutes. I mean, he's getting paid for it. Might as well let him go ahead and do that. Things that I'm watching for tonight, I think I mentioned a lot of them already. Night Boy said no Brandel or Brunson. I believe that they are playing. What you just seen on the screen was the bench players for the Knicks. That was the bench. I'll make sure that's labeled better next time so that someone who's coming in new will realize that that's the bench. All right, but things that I'm watching for tonight, I think I mentioned some of them. But I'm definitely watching for, I'm looking for the continuity, though. I think we've seen the continuity throughout preseason, but now since this is the dress rehearsal, and you would expect, I don't know if they're going to play 30 minutes, but you would expect that Tom Thibodeau's going to run things as if it were a game, if this is the dress rehearsal, right? So I'm looking for that continuity. I'm really looking to see what these lineups are going to look like. Bo Ishmael said IQ is out. All right, so then that throws a monkey wrench in my bench lineups. That means Deuce McBride will be in that bench lineup over IQ if IQ is out. All right, it'll be Deuce. And we'll come back. We'll take a look at that in a second. All right, but I'm looking to see the rotations. I'm looking to see the continuity of the lineups. All right. If IQ is out, then I'm looking to see Dante DiVincenzo step up and be more active in that second unit. He was last night, I think 15 points last night. Didn't shoot the ball entirely well. Right, but did play last night and did have a more productive outing as far as points are concerned. All right, I want to see him handle the ball a little bit more. So being out there with Deuce, maybe he does get a chance to handle the ball a little bit more. Right, I think he can create off of pick and rolls. I like to see him create off of pick and rolls a little bit. Get a chance to see what he can do. And Bo Ishmael said that Thibodeau said he's nicked up. And it could also be that he wants to get because listen, next week, I guarantee you he's playing. Right? Maybe this is also a chance to see if Dante DiVincenzo can get himself, handle the ball a little bit more. Get himself in the flow of the game a little bit more. Also to see what else Deuce can give us. Right? Deuce gave us 15, 16 points last night and played crazy defense. Right? See what Deuce can give you, because if Emmanuel Quickley is either traded or not signed to an extension, goes to free agency, goes to another team, Deuce may need to step in. So it's a chance to, see can Deuce continue to give you some more offense. He didn't shoot the ball entirely well last night, but he did give you 15 points. And also, of course, if Emmanuel Quickley is nicked up, if he's truly nicked up, Emmanuel Quickley, as well as the Knicks, don't want to chance any kind of injuries, especially Emmanuel Quickley, knowing that, he has a contract extension that he's working towards. Right? So his people will be like, let's take it easy. We need that. We want that extension. And if you get hurt anymore, then obviously, you put that extension in jeopardy. Unfortunately, it happens that way in professional sports. You know what I mean? Happens that way. All right, so I would expect Deuce McBride to get major playing time in that second unit if Emmanuel Quickley is indeed, and I'm not discounting you, but with Emmanuel Quickley being out, I would expect Deuce McBride to get major playing time in that second unit. All right. Now, with Deuce McBride, and see, the thing is, here's where the continuity becomes a little shaky, because not the fact that you have Deuce McBride in the second unit, but that second unit doesn't have a ton of experience together. right? Because if you have Evan Fournier in that second unit, right? Evan Fournier hasn't really played with those guys because he was a starter to begin last year, and then of course he was benched, right? So he's figuring out, the best ways to play with that team. And then Deuce, is figuring out the best way to play with a Dante DiVincenzo and with Josh Hart. I know he played with Josh Hart some last year, but Deuce wasn't getting major playing time. As a matter of fact, Josh Hart came in and became the player over Deuce McBride. Right? So, there's a little bit of, in that second unit, there is a little bit of non-continuity, if that's what you want to call it. They're figuring each other out. They're learning each other a little bit more in that second unit. Where the first unit, they've kind of got some things going on already, right? Because they've been together for, R.J. Barrett's been together with Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson ever since he's been here. So they look pretty smooth. The second unit is figuring some things out, and I think this is where the rotations. This is. When you talk about who's in the rotation and you're talking about what lineups are playing together and all those type of things, right? All those type of things, this is where it really does come in. It's that second unit. All right, so we corrected it, ladies and gentlemen. Deuce McBride will probably be playing instead of Emmanuel Quickley at the point guard spot. I would expect Deuce McBride is going to lock down Jared Butler. Right? Deuce McBride's defense has been crazy, in my opinion. I think his defense got better from last year. You know what I mean? His defense has really, really been tough. So expect Deuce McBride to be out there on the floor tonight in lieu of Emmanuel Quickley. So Deuce McBride, Dante DiVincenzo, Evan Fournier, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein. For the Wizards, Jared Butler, Dalen Wright, Corey Kispert, Danilo Gallinari, and Mike Muscala for the bench, ladies and gentlemen. This is the bench unit we're looking at. All right, I want to make sure that you know that. This is the bench unit that you're looking at right here. Predictions for tonight. It's not really much to predict, I don't think. What am I predicting? I think the Knicks are going to win the basketball game. I think they're going to approach it as if it's a regular season game. I think that Julius Randle is going to have a game tonight, a good game tonight. I don't know if he's really had that kind of a great preseason game. I think Julius Randle maybe has a good game tonight. That's about all for my predictions. I think, how about this? I think that Evan Fournier is going to be in a rotation tonight. And then that's going to indicate that he'll be in a rotation going forward. So I do think he's going to be in a rotation tonight. You know what I mean? I do think he's going to be in a rotation tonight. I see some people talking about the Sixers. Keith Turner said, if I'm the Sixers, I wouldn't trade James Harden. Just don't come to work and lose millions. It ain't hurting me. You know what? Only thing I say is just keep that man away from the New York Knicks. Trade him wherever they're going to trade him. Just keep him far away from the New York Knicks. He's too much trouble. Every place that he's been, besides OKC, but every place that he's been, he's really wanted out. Let him do whatever he's going to do. The Knicks play the Washington Wizards, ladies and gentlemen, in about 1 hour. All right? This is going to be the dress rehearsal. My predictions, big predictions, if they're going to be, is that the Knicks win the game. Evan Fournier is going to be in a rotation, which indicates he's going to be in a rotation during the regular season. Julius Randle has a big game. That's what I'm predicting. When the regular season starts, we're going to have some deeper predictions. We're working on some stuff, so, bear with us. We're working on some stuff. Hopefully we can get you guys involved in some of the predictions as well. You know what I mean? Uncle Fulio said, without IQ, one thing I'm watching out for is who will be the primary ball handler in the half court. Josh Hart will get us some scoring, pushing the ball, but let's see if Dante DiVincenzo is that ball handler. I think from the beginning, it's going to be Miles McBride, who is that primary ball handler in the second unit, but I'm looking to see Dante DiVincenzo handle the ball a little bit more too. But I think they're going to give those duties to Miles McBride coming out the gate. You know what I mean? But, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you before I get out of here, that we have 2 events going on next week. 2 very dope events. One is going to be a watch party, right? The Knicks versus the Celtics watch party at Legends. Okay, both of these links are in the description of the video too, but make sure you join us. It's free of charge. All right, so if you're not going to the game, make sure you join us at the watch party at Legends. It's going to be dope. It's going to be a really, really fun time. We're asking people to register so that we know how many people will possibly be in attendance. And then on this Saturday, October the 21st, we have a kickoff party, NBK kickoff party at Legends. All right, still, it's free of charge. You know, just some content creators getting together, some Knicks fans getting together, you know, doing some podcasting and talking Knicks, hanging out, having a good time. So come join us for both of those events, ladies and gentlemen. All right, the links are in the chat. The kickoff event link is pinned to the top of the YouTube chat so that, you know, because that's the event that's coming up first. All right, so make sure you join us there this weekend and then next Wednesday. And then, of course, on November the 1st, we'll be having the Knicks versus the Cavs. Those tickets are sold out, ladies and gentlemen. And but we will have a pregame podcast, live podcast at Legends if you want to come down and join us for that. All right. But I'm heading out, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back on the post-game show about 10:30. It is going to, you know, that post-game show is going to be, you know, overlapping with the Nas concert that's on Amazon. But it's all good. You know, I'm going to do the post-game show, and then we'll be doing the Losers Lounge. We're going to double up on the Losers Lounge. Since me and Tony didn't get a chance to do it last night, we'll double up on the Losers Lounge. We'll talk about the Celtics game, and we'll talk about the Wizards game from tonight. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I'll see you later on tonight, about 10:30. And, yeah, I'm up out of here, folks. Be peaceful. Be easy. One.
This is MBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.